This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by the Countertop Store, Central Arkansas's premier countertop authority. For custom fabrication and installation of granite, tile, laminate, copper, and more, the Countertop Store, 888-510-4773.
7:21. Welcome back to the Alice Stewart Show on this nice Thursday morning. And we have talked about this before. The Environmental Protection Agency is extending the long arm of the federal government with some new restrictions on our nation's power plants. And this would have it would force power plants to reduce carbon emissions by 30% by the year 2030. In short, it's a tax on power plants. And that would be passed on to consumers, those who consume energy in the state of Arkansas and across the country. And the problem is these standards, it's a different set of standards for each state. And Arkansas would face stricter requirements than 44 other states. And it's going to hit you right there in your pocketbook. And it's a concern. And good news is there's a public comment period for you to weigh in on this. And the EPA has extended that period until December. I want to talk about this with Duane Highley. He is the Arkansas Electric Co-op President and CEO. Duane, good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you here. First off, let's explain again these EPA regulations requiring power plants to reduce carbon emissions by 30%. Why are they doing this?
Well, they're trying to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that the United States emits into the atmosphere. Unfortunately, it won't make much of a reduction in the global emissions. Even this 30% reduction would result in less than a 1% reduction globally.
And that's the key, is that the force requirements are going to hit a lot of folks really, really hard, but the overall global footprint is minimal. What kind of impact will this have on, let's start off first with the businesses that are affected, and then most importantly, the people listening to the show, the average consumer?
Well, for Arkansas, we're being asked to make a bigger reduction than any surrounding state. So this 30% nationwide requirement becomes a 44% reduction for Arkansas. And when you dig through the 600 pages of the rule, you discover that they left out some of our plants. So it's actually going to be more like a 50% reduction for our consumers, and that just means greater cost increases for them than for neighboring states. For example, Missouri has less than half the reduction requirement. Kansas has less than half. Not because they're cleaner states, but just because they haven't prepared as well for the future. EPA kind of went after the people who'd made better preparations. These rules will increase electric rates for consumers in Arkansas by 20 to 40%. So for the average residential consumer, $20 to $40 a month. But for businesses, it's significantly more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've said before, in terms of the average consumer, it could mean anywhere an increase of $20 to $40 a month on your bill.
Yeah, and while we're all for clean air and we want to do things that make a difference, we just think this unfairly burdens Arkansas with cost increases that neighboring states aren't being asked to make. It's going to drive jobs out of our state, and it's not going to make a real difference to the planet at the end of the day.
And we've had Glenn Hooks from the Sierra Club on the program before, and he has talked about that and the need to have clean air and protecting the environment, which is critical, and we can all agree we all want to protect the environment. But as you say, and as many who oppose these regulations, the impact it has on businesses and clients and customers every day, Arkansans and Americans, is significant. However, the global impact is minute, and so for the long-term gain, there is a lot of expense and hardship placed on folks. And the public period has been extended 45 days until December 1st for folks to weigh in. So how do folks find out about where these meetings are, or who do they contact, who do they email, how do they reach out?
Well, one of the easiest ways for people to make their comments heard is to go to a website called tellepa.com. And this is one that we additionally sponsor jointly with other cooperatives across the nation, just trying to get comments in. You know, the EPA had almost 5 million comments on their last rule that restricted and eliminated the possibility of building any new coal plants. So this rule would shut down coal plants across the nation and reduce reliability and increase costs. we've already generated 1 million comments nationwide just from the electric cooperatives on this rule, but we would like to have everyone's voice heard, especially in Arkansas.
It's a great website. Once again, tellepa.com, and it gives you an opportunity to go and put your information in here and to take action, and it has you on record saying that you oppose the EPA's proposed greenhouse gas regulations for existing power plants, and that is critical.
Your comments could make a difference and help EPA craft a rule that's more affordable for us.
And that's the key. And you go on to say we need to balance our country's energy needs with the environmental concerns. And there is a way to do that without such harsh regulations on power plants and consumers. Also, our delegation, the Arkansas delegation, both of our senators, John Bozeman and Mark Pryor, are opposed to the regulations. All the 4 members of our congressional delegation are opposed to this. What kind of power or input will they have ultimately on trying to change these regulations?
Well, the EPA listened when 53 senators came together from both sides of the aisle here this week and sent a letter saying they needed a longer comment period. The EPA listened to that. And as we can get our congressional delegation aligned with us, and they are today, we're very grateful for their support. It makes a difference.
And it's so important. Once again, tellepa.com, and you can go and sign on to voicing your opinion on this and making sure that action is taken to stop the EPA from implementing these costly new regulations. And also, if folks have more of a passing interest in energy and the impact it has on our state and our economy, next Thursday, you are participating in a panel at the Clinton Library. It's a great panel of folks. We've got Mayor Mark Stodola, we've got Congressman Tom Cotton, a keynote speaker. You and several other experts in the energy field are speaking at noon next Thursday at the Clinton Library. What's going to be your message?
We want to do all we can to keep power affordable and reliable. This rule impacts every aspect of the way that we will generate and use electricity in our households. So we just want it to be as fair as possible. If the EPA is going to go ahead and pass this rule, it needs to be fair for Arkansans and not put a higher burden on our ratepayers than in surrounding states.
And that's key. And folks will be able to hear all the details on this. And this is Real Clear Politics is hosting this on the campaign trail, the State of Energy. And this is a fantastic national website that they are hitting key states. They're going to Arkansas, Colorado, and Iowa to discuss energy and want to get feedback from folks and hear from the experts on the ground. And you will be one of them. Look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Duane Highley, the Arkansas Electric Co-op President and CEO. Duane, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate you. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show brought to you by the Countertop Store, 9817 Maumelle Boulevard. Give them a call, 888-510-4773. Talk to one of their design consultants and let them show you how your dreams can come true.